So how was your weekend?
Good, good. How about you?
Yeah,
Did you
not
travel?
bad. I did not. I was local.
Oh yeah, yeah. You just stayed in town.
I did.
Your family's out in Arizona, aren't they?
No, they were all local as well.
Oh,
We're
they were.
we're going out over Christmas. Yep, that
Gotcha.
2 week that I'm saving up that 2 weeks of realtor PTO we had to stash up so I can take off.
You get paid time off, really? Really? Because I don't. I don't know what brokerage you're with. But
Yeah. Well, apparently the one that's pretty good at lying. So
yeah,
yeah, it was good.
funny.
You have a lot of good food.
Yeah, way too much. It sucks when you're trying to be healthy and then Thanksgiving comes and just smacks you right in the face.
Yeah, but it's just turkey and potatoes. That's just straight protein, I
No,
think.
then there's pie and Jello. You know the stuff.
Yeah, you got into
You
the
know
pie.
the stuff.
The pie scenario, that one's tough. I avoided all
Yeah.
the pie this weekend,
You did?
but there was puppy chow. So,
Okay, so you ate a lot of puppy
So I ate a
chow.
lot of puppy chow.
Is that a Thanksgiving food now?
I don't think so. I think
Who
that's
made
just one of the aunts made it.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think it was just something to bring. Everybody universally likes puppy chow,
Yep.
but it was good. So now we have to work for what exactly like 20 days until like December 20th, and then we can just be done.
Just do nothing. When do you leave? Is it December 20th?
22nd actually.
22nd?
But December 19th is a Friday, and then the 22nd is the Monday. So basically, as of that 19th, the Friday, I'm out.
We're done.
I'm done.
We're done.
I'm done. Catch me back January 2nd.
Dude, it's a trap because even I find myself on this Monday like, do I really need to work? Like we're basically at Christmas, right?
That's what it feels like.
You know, it's kind of hard to like really put your nose down.
Feels like there's not a lot going on right now.
No.
I was at the bank this morning, and they were kind of like, not at a standstill by any means, but they were also kind of like, yeah, just hanging out here.
We're here.
Yeah, we're here. If anybody
You
needs
wanna
a
put some money in?
7% interest loan, we're here. And it's like, okay, thanks, pal. Here.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, seriously. Talking about banks, I had seen a story over the weekend on a bank-owned repossession. You got a chance to read that story as well. I would love to hear you. So I can give everybody a little background here. It was the sinking house in West Fargo. The lady bought it. She spent $40,000 on renovations, supposedly fixing what was wrong with the foundations, only for like less than a year later for them to come back out and be like, that didn't fix the problem. It now needs $100,000 worth of work. And so the lady's like, I can't pay for that. Foreclosed on the property, which horrible, tragic thing to happen. There's a lot of dominoes that had to fall for her to get to that point. But now the bank that foreclosed on it got it back, and they have it relisted for sale with a realtor. And they're saying, move-in ready home, which is crazy to me. I would love to hear your thoughts on this.
I feel so bad for that lady. The company that did the foundation repair needs to be held accountable.
So you think this is a them problem? Like you would put them at most fault?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. Because if they supposedly fix the foundation, they should have some type of guarantee. If it was 10 years, 15 years down the road, like a foundation expert can't guarantee more than that. But a year later, your $30,000 repair did nothing.
Did nothing.
I think they need to be sued and held accountable for all repairs.
So what was crazy is in the article it said that she paid all that money. It was like $40,000 for the repair, and then she said she still noticed things weren't happening. So her home inspector, who originally inspected the home, he came over and is the one that said that $40,000 did nothing. So do you think it should go back on the home inspector who said, hey, you just looked at this thing first. You looked at it before I even bought it, and you didn't say anything. So do you think any liability should be held on the home inspector? There's a lot of people pointing fingers in this thing.
Yeah.
So this is where I start to wonder. I go, well, who's actually at fault? Like, obviously, it's an unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
I think it's just shitty all the way around. But I don't know. Who is the one to be held for it?
Did the inspector... So the inspector didn't say anything about needs foundation attention.
Not to my knowledge. It
Okay.
didn't say anything about that in the article.
Because if he noted it, he's not a foundation expert. He can just probably speak to the fact that, hey, this is wrong. Something is not right here. I recommend a foundation expert coming to look at it.
Sure.
And in that case, if it's the same foundation company, they looked at it, fixed it, and now here we are again. It's just gotten worse. So how do we know that the foundation didn't do didn't cause more damage from having those repairs by moving the foundation, and now
Sure.
it needs $100,000 versus originally it needed 25 or 30 grand by the correct foundation expert.
Sure, absolutely.
Like they probably moved the foundation and effed it all up, and now it's even worse.
So, I don't know. A lot of pointing fingers. I don't know any more of the situation than what the news thing was. I think a segment that this really this has always grinded my gears, and I don't want to get like too deep into ranting on this thing here. So I obviously flip houses. I work with, foundations that need repair. Am I an expert? Absolutely not. In my personal experience, this is what I have noticed. So there's really only 4 or 5 companies in town that I'm aware of that are, I would call, reputable foundation companies. Guys that have been doing it a long time. They're very prevalent in the area that I would say most realtors would say, I know these guys. I've heard of these guys. So when I saw that quote of the initial $40,000 bid, I don't know what kind of work was done. I don't know any of the backstory, but to get a number that high, it was pretty extensive. There was either some pretty extensive work was done, or it was probably the highest priced guys in town. Well, there's 2 of them. Not going to bash anybody. They have a great business. They're good at what they do. This is an unfortunate situation. So in my mind, I don't want to place, like I said, this situation is all terrible, but I think it goes to show, like, for young homeowners who are looking at buying homes, guys like me and you, when you are purchasing a home, I think it's extremely valuable for guys like me and you to say, okay, when something goes wrong, I probably should just do more than call the first guy that I see on Google, because this guy might have the most reviews, he might have the most this, but he's probably the most expensive. And nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean his work is any less or whatever than anybody else. But in my mind, I go, okay, when I call around on jobs, I can get bids that range substantially for the exact same work. And it's like, was one guy going to do it any better or worse because he did it for more expensive or less? No, absolutely not. But I think in this instance, if I were guessing, I don't know, I'm guessing this lady called one of the most 2 top brands. Like I said, not going to name them. They came along. They're very aggressive at getting you to sign a contract today, getting a deposit down. And I think she got hosed right off the bat. I think they probably overcharged the shit out of her for a job. And that's unfortunate. It happens. They did the fix. She paid the $40,000, but then to come back and say you need the $100,000 later, it's like, to call the same company that you basically got screwed on the first time. It's just I have to put a little bit of, like, I want to be able to educate buyers to, like, there are more opinions out there than just getting the first most expensive guy that comes over on Google. Like, it's terrifying for these buyers. They're buying homes. They've never owned a home before. They don't know anything. And you can't always expect them to know something. But when situations like this happen, it's like, okay, I just wish people were a little bit more informed about what came into owning a house. And like I said, I'm not blaming this lady. I don't know any of the whole story of what happened, but I do think it goes back on a problem with contractors of, like, when you're just calling one guy and they pressured you into doing something and they got you good, and then it didn't fix the problem, and then you called that same guy back, he came back, and then he sent you another $100,000 bid. It's like, okay, we gotta call around. We gotta look at something else here, right? So in my mind, it goes back to the finger pointing game. Everybody's blaming everybody. I don't think, I don't know what's going to happen out of the deal. The lady foreclosed, the banks. And the crazy part is somebody's going to buy that house. Like, that house at $160,000, even if it needs $100,000 in foundation work, which is bullshit. That's a crazy high number. Because what they're doing at $100,000 is they're telling them they're going to put piers in it, which is basically they're going to put piers all the way down to bedrock. So it'll basically stabilize, and then they'll attach that foundation to the piers so it won't sink anymore. Okay, $100,000 for that is crazy. You could call around and get that
15 or 20.
You could call around and get that cut in half, right? So right off the bat, say it actually was a $50,000 fix and the foundation was done good. Okay, well, you or I could buy that house for $100,000, put 50 into it. Now I've got a house in West Fargo for $150,000, a 4-bed, 2-bath. That still works for somebody, So it's like, the house in my mind, I don't know if it's uninhabitable. I guess I haven't been in there. Just the story, the pictures, hearing the foundation guys deal. I don't know. It's just a lot of big pointing fingers. I think the whole thing is a mess. But I just think there's more sides to everybody's story than what in Forum and Valley News Live just puts out right away.
The real estate agent needs to be held. I mean,
see, so is
like,
that us? Are we gonna get ourselves in trouble? You know?
Well, I just, if there's an issue like that, I'm making multiple calls, and I have had to do that before, where a house buyer wants to buy it, has a foundation issue. The seller says it's a minor foundation issue, only costs $5,000 to $10,000. Well, who's doing that quote? Who's doing that? We need maybe 3 or 4 quotes, because they'll do the quotes for free. So have 3 or 4 opinions out there, and out of those 4, hopefully one person is giving you the truth and telling you no, that this house needs 40 to 50 grand, and the 100 grand. Why did the real estate agent not say, like, that is bonkers? Even though he's not an expert in foundation, you or I could still make that judgment call of, like, build a new house. No, walk away from this deal.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
No, there's a lot at fault here. I feel terrible for the lady. I mean, she was just an amateur just looking to buy a house. And that's not her job.
No.
That's not her job. That's our job. That's the foundation expert's job, to guide her through the process, and she got hosed over it.
Yeah, and to foreclose. And in the article, it said she had, like, borrowed money from a friend. Terrible situation. I mean, so it's like, if she's still paying that friend back, I don't know what that whole financial scenario is, but it's just, it goes back on, there's a lot of steps that happened along this whole way that it probably could have been prevented, looking back at it. And also, I think it goes on guys like us to help better inform people. Like, hey, when you're buying this house, like, owning a home is a huge deal, you know? And it's like, there's probably a little more going on than you just turn a light switch on and the power turns on. Like, there's a whole house going on around you of things that are going to need to be maintained. And, you know, it's just a lot happening. And it's an unfortunate situation. Obviously, we wish that lady the best. Maybe we'll have her on someday, hear her side of the story. But regardless, somebody got screwed, and I don't know. It's going to be a weird deal the way it pans out.
As much as you or me would love to sell every single house that we walk in through selfishly to get a paycheck, that's just not how you can operate. You know how many, I can guarantee you have shown your buddies or your friends or clients' houses millions of times that you have just looked at them and just gave them no.
We can't.
Do not do this. And I hope that real estate agent provided her some truth to it. And yeah, I feel terrible for her.
Yeah, it'll be, I was curious though, because that one, like I said, the only reason I think that one, I just felt a little like more for it is just because I just deal with a lot of crappy homes.
Yeah.
And so I just see a lot of issues like that. And like I said, when it gets passed off to somebody else, you know, regardless of whose fault it was, it's like, at the end of the day, she's the one who has to pay the price for it. The realtor didn't get in any trouble. The home inspector didn't get in any trouble. The foundation guys didn't get in any trouble. It's like, okay, the lady, you know, she's the one. And it's a shame that all of those dominoes had to fall for it to get to that point. So anyways,
everyone's holding their hands in the air.
To be continued here. Yeah.